Having said that, last night I was, while I was thinking about this big event which the Confederation of Indian Industry hosts every year, I think you started last year, I was struck by a paragraph which William Shakespeare wrote in his epic, The Julius Caesar. And I think possibly that should really sum up the entire breadth of ambition which this summit seeks to encapsulate. That there is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads to fortune. Omitted all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries, and on such a full sea we are now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures. And I think the CII, Mr. Banerjee, must be complimented for the sheer optimism, if not the audacity of its vision, that we aspire to be a $100 billion industry in the years to come, and the path that we have chosen is a path of innovation. I think those people who have the ability to be able to think big, those who have the temerity to dream, ultimately are able to walk it and ultimately are able to triumph. And I think over the years, we would be able to, working in partnership with the industry, be able to translate this dream into a reality. But before we set out to innovate, we would be very well served to remember the caution which was administered by another great man of his time, the late and former Prime Minister Winston Churchill. And he said, and I quote, "We must beware of needless innovation, especially when it is guided by logic." These words are indeed prophetic and prescient, because the reality is that often the logic of the illogical has been the ruler of the kingdom of sublime. And the sands of time stand mute testimony to the ravages of civilization when thinking men have fallen prey to the seduction of demagoguery. Delusions of grandeur must never be allowed to take the place of the vision of moderation. And I would like to underscore that since this is a gathering of thinking people, and we as a country have a national obsession with politics, these words would be taken in the context in which they have been uttered. But coming back to the brick and mortar of reality, I would like to appreciate that despite a relative slowdown in the broader economy, the Indian entertainment and media industry has exhibited rather robust growth in the past year. From 805 billion Indian rupees in 2011, revenues have grown to 965 billion Indian rupees in 2012, representing an year-on-year increase of 20%. And by 2017, if you go by the projections which the report that we just released has to offer, the projected revenues are estimated to reach 2,245 billion Indian rupees at a compounded annual growth rate of 18.4%, which I think is not bad, considering that some of the other industries have not been really able to have such a robust level of growth. While the TV and print sectors would dominate the industry with 40 or dominate the industry at the moment with 40 and 22% of contributions to gross revenues, this mix would change by 2017, with 28% of the industry revenues coming from internet access. But here, I think we need to compliment and commend the print industry. At a point in time when iconic institutions around the world, print institutions are shutting shop, the Indian print industry continues to grow at a very robust rate with a compound annual growth rate of about 10%. By 2017, it would be the 6th largest print market in the world. And so therefore, there is a lot of juice in these oranges and apples, and the print industry would be well served during the course of the summit to think or to innovate as to how this 10% CAGR could possibly be even increased further. The irony really is, as both Ronnie and Rahul and even Amit were pointing out, is the broadcasting sector. The broadcasting sector between 1991 and 2013 has grown from 1 television channel to 798 at the last count. But news broadcasting represents only 7% of the entire television universe. So possibly there is a case for news broadcasters to reimagine their content paradigms, and I do think that they require help with their distribution scheme, and government has been, as the industry is aware, we've been very proactively working to see that the bottlenecks with regard to distribution are streamlined as much as possible in the short term, that since we have implemented, or we've started to implement, the entire paradigm of digitization. The new frontier, of course, is digital, and I have repeated this ad nauseum, and if some of you have heard it earlier, would you please bear with me. But the internet, which was perhaps the largest experiment in anarchy, has succeeded.